Hello and welcome to episode 22 of Kerbal Space Endeavour. We have new stuff coming up, and as you can see, our Moho SATCOM is still under construction, and meanwhile we have another King Corvette mission coming up because we just used the time that our VAB is using all its construction points on building big things for future missions. We are using the spaceplane hangar for obtaining some more money. So yeah, we are pretty much starting out the episode the same way we ended the last episode, by doing just some silly contracts where we're just doing flyovers of certain areas and we get some science and money for it. Now this time I was smarter, and it does work when you're in high enough altitude to time warp, time accelerate to at least 4 times time acceleration. So flying pretty much to the North Pole did not take me half an hour real time, it only took me like 10 minutes. Now we haven't been to the poles before, so we landed there and took some science with us because why not, if not for science. But while we were at the North Pole, we had a really nice view of the Aurora Borealis, and I must say, with the better atmosphere mod, this game can truly be beautiful for as much as you can get out of a sandbox game. But I honestly say I really enjoyed that view, and I wanted to share with that to you guys. So jumping ahead to the landing. And as landings go, well, yeah, it was a little bit unstable because the center of mass moved a little bit back, and well, I think King Corvette could need a little bit of a redoing, but other than that, it is a very good plane and it served our purpose, and we did not run out of wide runway, but we did do kind of a drift the airplane thingy, but we did make it back safe and sound with a little bit of extra rolling that we don't need. There we go. And have completed another contract which gave us reputation, money and science. Moving on, now that we have completed this contract, we still have more than enough time for our Moho SATCOM surveyor mission. But we also took the time to start planning a space station for around Kerbal. So we designed a space station core and a space station logistics hub and put them in our VAB construction queue. And we also have the SPH using its time to build a ground logistics hub. Now logistics hub are very cool, they come from the modular colonization mod, but I will explain their functionality later. Let's time warp forward here until our next thing is done, because we cannot do anything meanwhile. So just a little bit more, and let's go to the VAB storage, there we go, and launch our Moho SATCOM surveyor. And here we go to the launch, and yes, this is the complete identical craft that is already in orbit to go to Dres, but this one will definitely go to Moho. Well, and we are just gonna get it into position, set up our thrusters the right direction so it doesn't screw up my maneuvers when they are finally coming up, and set ourselves an alarm clock so we do know when we launch. Alright, moving on to our next thing, we actually have our space station core being completed before our window for Dres is actually here. So we have a new launch with so many others as we have done before. The space station core has pretty much just a capsula, life support, and the C3 colony control center and some docking ports. This will be the base part, main base part, just the first part, let's say, that will be put into a 500-kilometer orbit. Once we've reached that, of course, we separate our drive stage and bring it back home. Next thing to launch is a little bit big and wide on the top, but it is the logistics hub. So actually our VAB was fast enough in the construction time before our window of Dres was here. So here's our second craft part going up to the base. And well, while I was trying to get this to its designated target, I encountered a little bit of a problem. As you can see in the top left corner of the screen, I have no connection, so I can't control the vehicle anymore, and the 3 satellite dishes I had in here seem to have fallen off due to mystery aerodynamic pressure, I guess, or I don't know. So yeah, we have no connection, and this craft, it is in orbit, but it does not have any control whatsoever. So we had to start a new project, and this project is called Project Oversight. If you remember from previous episodes, yeah, if I forget things, we have to launch Project Oversight. So yeah, we did bring along new satellite dishes to be attached to our craft, but the old satellite dishes actually have just kind of drifted away a little bit, so I decided, well, let's try and see if we can pick them up. And actually Kerbal attachment system does let us pick up those satellite dishes. So yeah, we just pretty much flew over and reattached 2 of them, and then I decided, okay, let's get the last one, but it was 1.4 kilometers away. I'm like, nah, I don't really think I'm gonna have enough fuel for that. So while we do have a big craft here, so why not fly over there and get it manually? So once we get in close, we just get out, grab it again, punch it back on, get back in, and fly back. Because we have more than enough Delta V on board to do maneuvers like this. Initially, I also had at the tip right there a small LV1 engine that I was supposed to test in a suborbital trajectory, but I guess when we left the atmosphere, it broke off somewhere and I couldn't find it anymore. And whoa! Space bullet, I guess. Whatever. Okay, let's have him get back in here. Well, thanks to our special construction space, we now have control again, and our orbital logistics module will be able to get to our space station around Kerbal. Here we see once again the trajectory mod, which pretty much indicates where your vehicle will land when you get into the atmosphere. It is really useful. I can really recommend it for people who have a hard time pretty much getting back to the Kerbal Space Center or getting to the places that they want to. But whoa, things break off. As always, things usually break off. And yeah, we get back home safe and sound. And we jump ahead right away when we go into the, there we go, docking of our first part to our base. Now we're gonna transfer some fuels around because we have brought more than enough on our drive stage that we just activate and bring back to Kerbal. Moving on, now finally the window has come up for our mission to Dres, and I'm just gonna show you this in fast forward mode where I'm just messing around with the precise node mod to get an encounter with Dres. And I must say I really do like this precise node mod or utility tool. It just gives you that much more control over your maneuver nodes, and I hope at one point they're gonna implement this into the game. I know they haven't in 0.25, but at least one good thing that's coming up is the enhanced nav ball is being implemented into the core game, so that is gonna be something that we're all going to be looking forward to. So yeah, after pushing this towards its target and transferring some fuels around, we can actually watch it slowly drift away from Kerbal. There we go, with some time acceleration that rather looks beautiful as we leave as our first craft, actually, well, at least in the updated series, our first craft to leave Kerbin's sphere of influence. There we go. The next thing to happen though with it will be quite a while away. We still have the Moho mission before, and even the window for Eve will be long before we can reach our next maneuver node with it. So while things were still under construction again, we used the space plane hangar to build another King Corvette, because we had 2 more contracts coming up that tells us go to the other side of the planet and fly over certain areas. So there's 2 ways to go about it, and I chose the wrong way. Pretty much, if I would have flown against the rotation of the planet, I would have been faster, but instead I flew with the rotation of the planet. But oh well, we had more than enough fuel with us, so that was not a problem. All of this is once again time accelerated for you guys, because King Corvette is awesome, but not as awesome as showing you about 2 hours of me flying over Kerbin. I mean, it wasn't really 2 hours, but it did take a long time, and at least I did figure out if I'm high enough or high enough in the atmosphere, I can actually time accelerate, and therefore I don't have to sit here all day and waste money. Well, I actually didn't waste money. I set up my maneuver, just let it fly, and meanwhile I was trying to study and read up on some of my scripts and things like that. But oh well. Once we've flown over all of our targeted areas, we hit the last node, and it should be coming up right now. Where is it? Ah, there it is. We are now in the area, and there we have finally completed the contract, and we get a whole bunch of money that we surely need after our recent launches, and we get a little bit of more science, which is also very convenient. Now, after this being completed, we can pretty much just turn around and get back to the Kerbal Space Center. I decided this time I should fly against the rotation of the planet, so pretty much the same way we came from, to save a little bit of time. It won't be much because Kerbin is actually rather small and the rotation is very high, but oh well. Let's just jump ahead to the more interesting part, which is the landing. And I think it is time for some original commentary. Lead of some speed, 100 meters per second is fast enough. Nice and gentle. And there we go. Another successful mission for Lumen and Jolene. So let's recover the vessel and see what we've got for this. So Lumen got 2 new ribbons for flying horizontally at Mach 3 below 3,000 kilometers. And anything else? We recovered all of our vessel parts, so we're up to 1 million roots or credits or whatever. And we have completed 2 contracts. So awesome. Let's see if we can find something else. It says we could do another aerial survey, I guess. Bringing Class D asteroids into an orbit around Duna. Are they kidding me? I mean, they're gonna pay me 2 million for it. But still, getting a what? Capture a new Class D and then bring in a stale around Duna. Why? For science. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna do that anytime soon. Conduct a magnetic survey around Duna. Magnetometer scan, magnetometer radio plasma wave. So yeah, there's a lot of custom contracts or contracts implemented with mods that are rather interesting, but on another hand quite ridiculous, because getting a Class D asteroid to Duna would take a whole bunch of delta V. Like, a whole bunch. I don't even know how much, but I don't even want to guess. Maybe at one point we'll be able to do this. Maybe with the super strong engines that come with B9 we could do something like that. But that is actually not close to near future, that is far future. But we'll see. There's still a lot of things to do in the game, and then we'll just have to go about it once we hit certain things and certain stuff. But yeah, just checking through here for some more interesting contracts that we still have to do, but we'll get to that later. Now please ignore the person in the top left corner of the screen. That is in no way me. No, it actually is. I just forgot when I was recording this to turn off my webcam, and I guess you guys have to stick through this segment by looking at my face in the top left corner of the screen. That is completely out of sync what I'm saying right now. Now the space station was named Jump Zero, and that's a reference to one of my favorite games, and I hope you guys know it. If you do, comment it. I'm quite likely to know who is capable of knowing what Jump Zero is and from which game it is. However, this segment here is our construction segment. Pretty much now that this is the part up here, we'll be able to construct crafts in space. So we don't actually have to bring everything into orbit. We just need to bring the materials, and then on Jump Zero we'll be able to construct our vehicles in space, which actually helps because then I can design pretty much not aerodynamic crafts to fly around Kerbal, or actually I don't need to go through the atmosphere, which is really convenient, and that is possible with the extra planetary launch pad mod. However, we're now having the next thing come up. Yes, we're jumping to things because so many things are happening, and this is our mission to Moho finally. Our initial mission that was planned a long time ago. I think it was like more than 150 days ago or something like that. But yeah, similar design, similar launch. I'm just gonna go jump ahead because accelerating to escape velocity with just 2 engines and that mass amount of mass takes a long time and it's boring to watch. So yeah, after accelerating we once again have the problem because we accelerate so slowly. Our initial node was not completely precise, so we actually have to adjust our second node, so we actually have an encounter again with Moho. So setting up another alarm clock so we know when things are happening. There we go. And actually Moho, since Moho is going down into an orbit closer to the sun, it will be happening a lot sooner than the Dres change of orbit. So yeah, we have a lot more things coming up. We have a Minmus Explorer, and our ground logistics hub is also still under construction. Now the reason why we're doing another Minmus mission is we still had some open contracts from a while ago where we had like 4 things to do and I only completed 2 of them. So I decided, okay, let's just squeeze another Minmus mission in here while our logistics hub on ground is still under construction. And here it is. Nothing too special about it. We were still supposed to collect solar information in high orbit around Minmus. So that is what we're collecting right now. In low orbit we're supposed to collect multispectral analysis, and we were supposed to test the Rapier engine in a escape trajectory out of Minmus. So yeah, there is the thing. Now we tested it and we have completed the contract, got a whole bunch of money for this ridiculous easy job, and also a lot of science. So yeah, I set myself up for a very flyby, very low orbit flyby of Minmus, and we're just going to complete a lot more science on the way. And if you just saw that one of my satellites around of Minmus seems to be out of sync with the others, it's just really hard to get a synchronous orbit with the designs that I made for Minmus, because I was not smart enough and didn't put RCS on them. So I only had these small engines, and the small engines are way too powerful for the amount of mass that I have. So that's why they're a little bit unstable, but it doesn't matter too much because we still have more than enough fuel on board to change the trajectory if we ever need to. So while this thing is getting back to Kerbal, we can move on to new things. And there we go, new things are completed. So let's jump ahead to them. We already moved it off the runway. This is the ground logistics hub, and yes, explosions were intended. But no, pretty much what we're doing is just getting rid of the wheels and giving it a good stand base. And to get rid of the wheels, we are going into recovery mode and then just getting them back. Now, I did bring this along and it was empty because it would have been too heavy for these rover wheels. I didn't have good enough wheels, and oh my goodness, why? Always these things happen to me. I was, yeah. These rover wheels didn't work very well, and I really had problems designing everything. So as you can see here, I'm attaching carbonite fuel tanks, which I forgot in the initial build, and so we have to use Kerbal attachment system to get them. And because that thing is so high up, I tried rolling this entire thing around, and it did not want to work because I need to be close enough to grab it, and it wouldn't let me. But fiddling around here and there a little bit, it actually does let me get them. So now that we have these things attached, we can actually turn on our carbonite drills, and now we can actually produce liquid fuel and oxidizer from pretty much nothing. So from now on we will have free fuel. And now here comes the important part, why I need the fuel. If I have enough fuel, and you can see here there's a logistics hub in the middle, I can send fuel and materials back and forth. So we're jumping right up ahead here up to the orbital station, select pretty much where we're gonna transfer stuff from and to, then we're gonna decide which quantity of stuff we're going to send, and then it tells us, okay, we can't send all of it because you can't send fuel more than you have, in a matter of sense, as you need fuel to bring fuel. So you actually have to adjust it a little bit to get it to work. But yeah, from now on I'll be able to transfer materials between my ground station and Jump Zero without having to build or design a craft. I can just pretty much send it along with these drones. Now it does take a little bit of time, so we're just going to time accelerate here a little bit. And once it is done, you can see that we actually do have now liquid fuel and oxidizer on board of Jump Zero. There we go, you're right there. It's just gonna take a little while, but other than that, we can send any amount of materials up here at almost no cost to our space program, which is really awesome. So yeah, we'll be designing, crafting, and building things in orbit fairly soon. Now let's jump ahead to our Minmus Explorer, which is returning, and we did have some things that we lost on the way, and somehow I spun around really weirdly. But however, we finally did get all the things that we need, completed the contracts, got some more science, unlocked some new tech trees, but nothing in particular that is too fancy. Now once again, this episode was done in quite of a hurry. I am very low on time at the moment. The problem is I have a huge exam coming up on the 30th. So pretty much this is the last video for this month. I have literally not even Saturdays free anymore. I also have Saturday classes, and pretty much I have almost classes from 9 AM to 8 PM until the 30th. So this entire month has no free time for me. So that's why this episode is a little bit longer and it is a little bit rushed. I still hope you guys do or did enjoy it. There will be a lot more stuff coming up, as I said, building things in space and more construction and so forth. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see each other next month. So yeah, the only thing to say that what I am always saying is until next time.